Hey guys, how's it going on here? Welcome to round 14 of the 2016 Formula SimRacing World Championship highlights on my channel. These are my personal highlights, as I said, from round 14, which was the Malaysian Grand Prix, with 3 more races to go, including this one. We can be crowned champions here this weekend, and how awesome would that be? You're currently joining me on the qualifying lap. This was in fact my first lap of the session, and it was right at the end of the session as well. Starting this lap, I believe I was P4 or P5, something right there. So I did want to improve desperately. My personal best coming into this session was, I think, a 0.7, 30, what is it, 34.7, I think it is. We'll see at the end though. So let's see if I can get like within the 10 for 2 from that PB. That would be quite nice. Obviously last time round in Suzuka, the qualifying, I beat my PB. That's gonna be difficult here, especially with an oversteering moment like that. But hopefully we can get really close to my PB. And I think nobody has dipped into the 34 yet. So everyone is as either said a 35.0 or a lap time higher than that. So if we can dip into the 34s, it may as well give us a pole position time. So far the lap is kind of looking okay. At the end of the first sector I was 700s down, but because of that and because it was my final lap as well, I decided to go full nuts for the final 2 sectors, the middle and the one we're currently in, especially for the final corner. You'll see that I take a lot of speed really into there. Even the wheels are somewhat drifting, or well, not drifting but sliding going into the final corner there. Someone up ahead has crashed and we are about to cross the line. Will be enough for pole position. It's going to be important if I can, and it is! Oh!
Holy shit, that's sector 3!
Oh man, that was really lucky, I have to say. I got the Horner leg at the exit of the penultimate corner. Thought I would lose it. I thought I would lose it. It was Horner legging on the throttle pedal, man. And I had a shit final corner too, I thought. Come on, let's keep that up now. That was so lucky, I think. That was really lucky. I really didn't expect that, because at the penultimate corner I had the Horner leg and I was bouncing on the throttle pedal and no idea how that's fast.
Right.
And then in the final corner I braked quite late, to be honest, but I thought I went quite deep as well and had the poor exit.
You were...
How the fuck did we do that again? No clue.
You were down in sector 1, but only by 700ths.
Yeah, so Justin and I had a little bit of a debrief of qualifying there. The top 8 was separated by just over 3 tenths, and the gap between Broek and ourselves was around a little bit less than 300ths of a second. So again, I said that it was quite lucky actually, because during that lap I had some mistakes and I got the Horner leg. We refer to the Horner leg to a leg which is like bouncing up and down, and that is something I get sometimes when I'm nervous.
So obviously, as I'm sure you noticed, Kiss is P7.
No, I haven't noticed actually.
And Paresis is P15. The car alongside you is going to be Peter Briliak, so it's not going to be easy into turn 1. The next car behind you after that is Journey, then your teammate, then your Brewer, and then Martin Stefanko, and then Patel, then Kiss.
I just need to play it smart. If I bottle the start again, so be it. Kiss is P7.
Exactly. That is the goal. If we win, that's great. But the goal is, yeah, we just need to stay ahead of Kiss.
And Paresis.
Yep. Yeah, P15 though, that's... wow. I assume he's starting on the hards. He is starting on the hards, as is his teammate Manusakis, who is in P16 directly behind him.
Let's have a good start for once.
But yeah, if you need to use boost on the run down towards turn 4, you can. Or I don't know if you can, but you can if you need to.
So obviously after qualifying I was extremely delighted with that pole position lap. If we get a good start, or with the pole position and with the lap time, if we get a good start, then we're looking so good, because Kiss, as Justin has mentioned, starts from P7, Paris is even outside of the top 10, and in order to become a champion here you need to finish, or we had to finish in front of both Kiss and Paresis. Basically that's what it looks like, simply put. So if we finish in front of Paresis and Kiss, then we're basically or effectively champions. But yeah, here we see the strategy. It's a 2-stop, but so far, if we're able to keep this up, it's fine. We can even lose the position to Broek and even to Simocic. As long as we stay ahead of Kiss and Paresis, we'll be clinching the victory. But we have already set a massive step towards it, I think, in qualifying. Hence why I was pretty damn happy with that lap. I don't think I was ever so ecstatic about a lap this season at the end of qualifying. However, that's because I knew that this was an important weekend. I knew the championship was obviously at stake, and then obviously you want to do well and you want to
good luck.
You too.
You want to win it as soon as possible. You don't want the championship to go down to the final race down the wire. You want to wrap it up as soon as possible, even though for the spectators that may not be good. Daniel Brewer here starting from 4th. Excellent qualifying for him. Hopefully he can score some points for the constructors as well, because that will be important too. This race though, we focused on the Drivers' Championship. Finishing first definitely means the Drivers' Championship already. And the lights are out, and they are out right now. So is it a good start then? It seems like it's quite okay. Brilliak is behind. Simocic had a brilliant start. He's actually alongside Brilliak going into the first turn. We are in the first turn ahead of everyone though. Simocic tries to do it around the outside there, but that turn is a little bit cambered, a little bit banked. So we had the inside line there and were able to stick to it. And a reasonable start. After Suzuka, if you have watched that race, I said on the team radio, I think multiple times, I have to improve the starts. That's exactly what I try to work on. I got a different start procedure. Usually I would only use the clutch, so I would enable it in gear. Then as soon as the lights went out, I would release the clutch and go. I think that's a pretty standard procedure, to be honest. But for this race I took a different approach. I don't put it in gear, I don't use the clutch. As soon as the lights go out, I simply put it in gear, and before that I press the throttle pedal, and that's it. So yeah, no clutch involved there, and it seemed to work a little bit better, because this time we didn't drop a position at all at the start. Having said that, Simocic got quite a decent start himself too. Maybe I got lucky that Brilliak didn't have the best of starts ever as well, but we'll see in the replay soon. We are ahead though, both of Simocic and Brilliak, which is good news. I don't really care who is ahead, or who is in second rather, whether it's Simocic or Brilliak, I don't care. I'm gonna have to push as hard as I can, as much as I can, keep the tires under control as much as I can. We know that it's a 2-stop with 2 prime sets, 2 prime tires, and those prime tires are incredibly consistent over the run. You'll see it later in this race as well. You'll see just how consistent you can be with these tires when you have them in the operating window, when you treat them right, and yeah, you just look after them. In the background you can see Brilliak already trying to put some pressure back again on Simocic. We have created a little bit of a gap to Simocic, which is good for us after lap 1, but on the formation lap on the team radio you could hear as well that I could use some boost.
1.3 to the car behind.
So immediately he's out of sight of our DRS zone, and that gives us yeah, a big advantage obviously when he is not inside of the DRS zone. Replay of the start then. Here we go. You see me in neutral. There I put it in first gear. No use of the clutch at all. And then you fly off. Brilliak had, I don't know. I guess an okay start. Simocic had an excellent start, by the way. He didn't really get a lot of wheel spin at all. The next shot is actually his onboard. And then you can see it very well. Here we go. So this is Simocic's point of view. Look at the rev counter. Look at the rev limiter. Or the rev lights, I should say. They stay nicely in the middle there as soon as he reaches about 80 kilometers an hour. So he minimizes wheel spin very, very well. Gets off the line pretty well as well. Tries to do it around the outside here. But again, there's a little bit of a camber on the inside there, which yeah, was to my advantage, of course. And of course, I also had the inside line. So we were able to stick to the position quite nicely. Brilliak actually had a better start than us, I think. Especially the initial launch was better from him, but after that we picked it up, and you could see Brilliak was having a slight look on the inside, but I blocked him off, so no no dive into turn 1 from him, luckily for us. So we skipped quite a long way ahead already, lap 10. Not a lot has happened in the meantime, although
I'm pushing.
Yep, I know. Keep it up. I'll let you know when to stop pushing. Front tires are 3% worse than simulation. The tires are more important than fuel right now. Try to save the fronts a little if you can without reducing your pace. Front tires are 4% worse than simulation now. We might want to consider stopping on 12.
Yeah, I don't care, it's good. If I drive slower, there will be a ghost speed breathing in my neck.
Yep, keep it up. If we stop on 12, it just means one more extra lap for the next 2 stints. Not a big deal. 39.3 last lap from Brilliac, 39.3. Gap is 1.7.
Gap is 1.7. At the time I thought Simultage was still behind me, but it's not. Brilliac is behind me. The team radios, by the way, during this race are always team radios in chronological order. So the order is you get the old team radios first, and then later on in the team radio you get the newer ones. You saw the consistency, by the way, there on the top right. It's kind of alright, and yeah, the gap to Brilliac is staying quite consistent. We open up lap 11. Like I said, I'm pushing. Brilliac last lap though gained 3/10 all of a sudden, so a fantastic lap from Brilliac, putting some more pressure on us towards the end of our stint. Obviously, want to try to avoid him being in our DRS zone, because when Brilliac is in your DRS zone, it can get quite dangerous.
This is lap 11. Let's stop next lap.
Yeah, so we stopped next lap. Our tire wear was 4% worse than we anticipated, than we did in the strategy, or the simulation, excuse me. That is quite a bit, 4% less tire life. That is quite a lot, in fact. But the explanation for that is quite simple. In the simulation, I did not push as hard as in the race. This race so far, these 11 laps, they were very, very tense for me. All these laps were pretty much, yeah, push mode enabled. Every lap you were pushing, trying to build that gap.
We stop next lap. One more lap. Give those tires everything you got.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler for the rest of the video. It is just driving basically, and it may seem boring, but the amount of effort I had to put into the driving to gain even 1/10 per lap on Brilliac was immense. And it requires a lot of your concentration, a lot of your consistency, and to be honest, these first 11 laps went so well. They were like, I couldn't have done it better again if I tried, but still I only have a 1.7 gap to Brilliac, and we respond to the last lap from Brilliac. Last time around he did a 0.3, now we set a 0.3, so we respond.
Yeah,
to
we
him.
have a very nice gap. Hit this lap for hards.
So we'll pit this lap for hards, 2 laps earlier I think than we anticipated. Here we see it again, 0.3, 0.4, 0.4, 0.6, 0.3. The consistency is not amazing. The slowest lap time we have set this stint is a 0.7, the quickest a 0.3. So our slowest and quickest lap, excuse me, are separated by 4/10 on over the course of this stint, which isn't too bad, but the consistency, trust me, it can be better. Having said that, this is the option tire as well. The prime tire, like I said before, is so consistent around this track. It's pretty amazing. Now we will pit 2 laps earlier than we anticipated. Firstly, to fend off an undercut from Brilliac, and this was something Justin did really well. We wanted to stop as early as possible, but not too early, in order to fend off an undercut from Brilliac. And secondly, of course, we are having quite a bit worse tire wear than we were having in the simulation, which we did before, and which we always take as a guideline for the actual race as well. Box?
Yes, for primes.
So over the team radio, you know, again, I knew this was an important race. I knew it was going well. With a lot of things I do, I basically ask for confirmation. I just want to make sure that everything goes well here. But I have to say, I had a lot of trust in this decision by Justin. Lap 12 we pit, Brilliac stays out for now.
Push like hell on the outlap.
And push like hell on the outlap is what Justin says. Simultage is in as well, you can see him there in the background. We leave our pit box. Nice and smooth pit stop there, nothing too interesting of course. So again, 2 laps earlier, that maybe means that I have to do a little bit more tire conserving in the second stint. Having said that, this is the reason why we do a simulation before the race, because we know from the numbers from the simulation there is a little bit of a margin with the prime tires. Basically the primes last so well that you could actually stop a little bit early or earlier and still make the end of the race quite comfortably with 2 sets of prime tires. There was a little bit of headroom.
Next car up the road is Mike Partington. He's still on his first stint. He's on mediums.
Okay, so Partington up ahead, he's on medium, so most likely he'll be pitting soon and we won't even hit the back of him. I can't even see him, to be honest, so he's quite far into the distance obviously. But we are battling quite massively with Brilliac. Brilliac managed to overtake Simultage in the first stint and is now our main competitor, so to say, in this race. And again, after the first stint, I could immediately see where this race was heading. If you make one mistake here, you'll immediately lose so much time and even a position if you are, you know, if the mistake is big enough. Again, I'm gonna say it one more time. The amount of effort you have to put into the driving in order to even gain half a tenth is crazy. It is immense. I don't know how Brilliac feels about it, but these, again, first 12 laps or so, this first stint was an amazing stint. I couldn't have done it better if I tried again. And yet I'm only 1.7, something like that, ahead of Brilliac. Well, Brilliac was battling himself with Simulchich. I mean, honestly, it is a very tiring battle you have, and you don't necessarily have a battle wheel to wheel, but there's still definitely a battle going on.
Brilliac pits, he's the car behind. Car ahead is Stefanko, 13-second gap, he got clear air.
Where is Kiss and Parisis?
Kiss is P6, Parisis is P10, hasn't stopped yet. We're doing 22 laps on this stint, 22 laps. 2.2 to the car behind, 2.2.
Okay, 2.2 to the car behind, so we gained about half a tenth. We're using the undercut there and trying to fend off Brilliac from undercutting. Lap 22 it is now. You can see the previous laps over there. This is quite a bit more consistent, isn't it? 0.0, 0.0, 0.0, 0.0, 0.8. I mean, that is much more like it. These prime tires are so consistent, like I said before. Last couple of laps, 38.8 from us, 39.0 from Brilliac. So gained a little bit less than 2 tenths. This is looking good so far. And can we now extend the gap to Brilliac? That would be nice. Create a bit of breathing room, you know?
Come on, we have to win for the constructors too.
2.7 to the car behind.
Parisis DNF.
Yep, Kiss in P6 still. Front tires are 2% worse than simulation, rears are perfect.
Okay, so just coming back onto what happened on the team radio after the pit stop, I asked where Parisis and Kiss were. They were still quite far behind us, so honestly something weird has to happen if we don't clinch the championship here. But I was immediately thinking a step ahead, because the constructors is also right in there. You know, that battle is probably going to heat up for the last 2 races again. If you finish first, you get 25 points. If you finish second, you get 18 points. That's a 7-point difference, and you never know how important those 7 points are going to be at the end of the season, at the final race, for example, if that constructors battle is still going on. So I wanted to finish first above everything and all in order to do well for the constructors too. And here we see it, last laps separated by half a tenth. It's I don't really know what to say of it. It's fantastic, really.
Gap is the same, 3 seconds to the car behind.
Yeah, and this was what you always heard on the team radio. You nail a lap and either the gap comes down by a tenth or it went up by a tenth, basically. Justin did an amazing job, by the way, at keeping me updated on the gap. I really like hearing the gaps. I usually don't look at the gaps myself in the HUD you have. R-Factor 2 has a HUD where you can check what the gaps are, but I never use it. I find it in fact very distracting using it, because I'll be looking at it every single time, just, you know, looking for confirmation if I gained anything. And here we see it again, 0.7, 0.8, 0.7, 0.8, 0.7. I mean, it's unreal.
2.4 to the car behind, 2.4. 2.3. 2.6 to the car behind, 2.6. 2.8, 2.8, keep it up. 2.9 to the car behind, 2.9 to Brilliac. We need 6 more laps from these tires, 6 more laps.
I'm starting to struggle for grip now a bit. Also having a drop off.
Okay, so Justin said in lap 12, 22 laps on this set, so we'll be pitting most likely in lap 34. That's the lap Justin has in front of him. And again, the gaps between Brilliac and ourselves last lap, less than half a tenth. I mean, oh my god. It just... See, this is a whole kind of another battle than a wheel-to-wheel battle, of course. But for me, when driving it, it is just as intense, if not even more intense. That stuff you heard on the team radio there, where the gap went from 2.6 to 2.4 to 2.3 back to 2.9. That 2.3 to 2.9 second gap I built to Brilliac was like a huge achievement. It's like, it's the same as building a 10-second gap almost in some other races. Whereas here, you build a 6/10 gap and it feels like a massive achievement, you know. It's quite insane. And again, the consistency is fantastic on these prime tires. Not only for me, but the whole field. Brilliac has it as well. Brilliac is amazingly consistent right now as well. And really, the gap is being formed here every single lap by a tenth, if not even less. That's really where this gap came from. And perhaps maybe SimRacing's getting in the way of Brilliant at the start of the race. You have to bear that in mind too. However, we skipped lap 34. I was scheduled in lap.
3.2 to the car behind, 3.2.
Oh, come on. It's so hard to stick to this pace.
3.4 to the car behind.
Come on, we have to do this. For the constructors and for Peter, come on.
2 more laps, and then we pit. 3.7 to the car behind.
Second drop off, I'm getting understeer.
Pit this lap for hards. 3.8 to the car behind, 3.8.
Okay, I'm sorry to struggle to keep up with the commentary again. Look at the consistency once again on the top right of your screen. It is massive on these prime tires, like I said before. However, judging from the team radio there, again, I'm thinking a step ahead. I want to win this race. Of course, it's fantastic to win a race and finish off a Drivers' Championship because of it. But you are focusing on the constructors now as well. That is the next step. And that constructors, in my opinion, completely belongs to Peter Bell, who is the team boss. And driving for Peter is a pleasure. Peter is a fantastic person who really puts his heart into the FSR team, into Origin Front Row Racing. And in my opinion, this man just deserves a championship. And I drove the final couple of races, already a little bit of a spoiler, but the final couple of races I put all my soul into it, all my whole heart into it, trying to do the best job I could, trying to do the maximum I could, because that constructors, I'm not doing it for myself at all. I'm really mainly doing it for Peter Bell, the team boss, and then obviously the whole team as well. You can name all those names. I'll most likely do it in one of the future videos, but man, that constructors is now important too.
Brilliant continues on. Should have nice clean air when you come out. Nice clean air.
Come on, Justin, one more.
Should come out ahead of Hoyer. Hoyer pits anyway.
So yeah, again, something weird has to happen if we won't clinch the Drivers' Championship. But if you can get first, then it's a massive boost for the constructors as well.
Journey pits 2, your P4. Next car up the road is Kiss. He still needs to stop again.
Keep an eye out on the fuel.
Yep, we will need to save a little bit. But not right now. Not right now. Use that fuel.
Okay, so the final stint of this race, you could hear there, I said monitor the fuel or whatever, keep an eye out on the fuel. I'm starting to be a little bit more conservative right now in my approach. I increased the gap to Brilliant a little bit at the end of the stint, so perhaps he was struggling for more wear than us, even though he pitted a lap later than us, of course, in that first stint. He again pits a lap later now.
Pits. Patel pits. Only car ahead is Kiss.
So he will have one lap fresher tires again for this current stint, which is the final stint of this race. And the most twisted cars come in, or both twisted cars come in, and Patel as well.
You're leading. Never mind, Kiss pit. Sorry. 21 laps. It's 4.5 seconds to Brilliac, and we need to do some fuel saving. So no boost on the back straight. We just need a little bit of fuel saving.
So the gap to Brilliac has come up from about 2.9 it was before. To 4.5 using the undercut as well, and the good final laps I had on the previous stint. The tires were in pretty okay shape, I have to say, and I could push relatively hard on them. Skip to lap 40. So here you can see, last time around, Brilliac again gaining about 2/10 on us. That's alright though, I have got a little bit of a buffer, I can let that gap come down a bit.
We should be fine on fuel to the end of the race now, regular boosting. 4.2 to the car behind.
So from 4.5 to 4.2, that's not too bad. I mean, considering we had to save some fuel, like Justin said, which we did as well. It's not too bad at all. And again, I have a little bit of a gap. I can let that gap come down if I want to. We are now in a much more comfortable position than we were before. But again, that second stint, it seems so easy, but the sweat is dripping, you know, everywhere when I was racing, at least at that time. I mean, yeah, it's really tough to describe as well, because again, as Brilliac makes a mistake. That is one of those mistakes we were talking about, lap 40 of this race, and Brilliac cracks. That surely means the victory if I don't do anything silly now.
Mistake from Brilliac, 8-second gap.
Okay, be clever now. Keep the previous stint, the tire wear, as a guideline for this stint.
Tires are 1% better than last stint. 1% better than last stint.
And now we go fully into monitoring everything on the car, basically. I mean, if you give this first place away now, you know, again, it's not cool at all. If we don't do anything silly, like I said before, this first place should be ours. The championship obviously will be ours, but we will also pick up quite a few more points for the constructors too, which is quite important. Point 9, point 9, point 9, point 0, point 9. What else do you want, you know? I mean,
fuel looks much better. Fuel looks perfect.
Good job. Just make sure to keep monitoring everything, but we're looking good, I think. What is the gap?
7.9, 7.9. Tires are now 2% better, 2% better. 6.6 to the car behind, 6.6. This is lap 50, lap 50.
So Burek is bringing the gap down right now quite a bit. We open up lap 50 like Justin said on the radio. But again, since Burek's mistake, I took it a little bit more cautious. There was no need for me to push as hard as I did anymore. But trust me, before Burek made that mistake, I was pushing every single lap. That's also why the tires were in a worse shape than before. And now that we had to, you know, now that we could calm down a little bit again, you could hear Justin saying the tires are suddenly 2% better. So that's what kind of an effect it has on the tires if you push or not. Lap 52, we're getting close here now.
6.6 to the car behind, 6.6.
So I am gaining again, right?
Marginally, yes. Even if you're half a second a lap slower than him, though, you're still going to win. Tires are 3% better than previous simulation, 3% better. Fuel is good.
Yeah, and I'm still being worried about gaining on Brilliac. You can see it over there, previous lap 38.09.1, and then suddenly you pop back into the 7 and 8. That is not obviously consistent, but in lap 50 basically I decided to push a little bit more. I don't really know why, but the gap was coming down. I don't want to give Brilliac any kind of hope at all, but I'm not gonna lie. It is also a little bit about bragging rights. You want to show the car behind that you are being a little bit more lazy now, that you can go quicker and that you have got him in the back. I'm gonna have to be honest.
We're getting quite close now.
4 more laps, 4 more laps. Gap is 7 seconds.
Yeah, and this weekend seems to be going absolutely perfect. Lap 55 out of 56, 1 more lap to go.
3 more laps. 3 more laps.
Can you say it a little bit slower as well, like 3 more laps?
3 more laps. Tires still look good, 3% better than previous stint.
Yeah, a little bit of joking on the team radio there. Last lap. Here we go, you know. Yeah, amazing feeling you get for the final lap. Very good.
White flag this time by, white flag this time by. 6.8 to the car behind.
And the best thing, in my opinion, is the way we have wrapped it up for this final race. Because these 56 laps, about 95% of these laps I was giving it my maximum. And it feels so good when you can do that with a car. We know that these modern F1 cars, you always have to look a little bit after the tires here and there, you have to save them. But for this Malaysian Grand Prix, it wasn't really the case, especially not when you were on the prime tires. They just kept going, they even kept going faster later on in the stint. And it was absolutely lovely. And honestly, to win it in this fashion, again, it may be disappointing and it may be, well, not disappointing, but it may be boring for the spectators, but from a driver's point of view, this race was just as intense, if not even more intense. I think it is even more intense actually than Bahrain, for example, where we came from 10th place to win it at the end of the race. This race is even more intense, to be honest, than that one. One more corner to go. We are going to clinch this World Championship.
Thank you, man.
And not only the championship, but also the Constructors' Championship. And here is the delight on the team radio when crossing the line.
Yes, oh my god, yes. Oh, thank God. We can relax a little bit. I know you still want to win the next 2 races, but we can relax a little.
Hold on.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Justin.
My pleasure.
Yes. Yeah, thank you a lot, Justin. No, not only for this season, but I think Bahrain 2015 is when you started. And you have a great part in this achievement. So thanks a lot.
Happy to help, but fantastic driving. Well done today. Pole won by like nearly 7 seconds. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah, and of course thanks to Peter too, because you're a really, really, really kind person.
I think the word speechless comes to mind.
Yeah, it's quite insane.
2016 FSR World Champion.
Yep. Thank you all. Couldn't have done it without you, and with the whole team, of course. And also, not to forget my parents and my brother, and mainly my dad, watching every single broadcast, not missing one. So, yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks.
Yeah, I think my dad will be watching this video with a little of a smile on his face. He always watches the broadcasts and the personal highlights on my own channel, so I'm sure he'll be hearing this. And well, what a race it has been. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely almost perfect, basically. I mean, in Hockenheim we also had a race like this where we were leading at the start. We never really lost the lead, I think, maybe after a pit stop or something like that, but that was really dominating fashion in Hockenheim. And I always said I want to have another race like Hockenheim, because you are leading the whole race, nothing goes wrong at all. And I never really was able to do that. I hope that Monza, Italy, would be a race like that, but it wasn't. The only way we won that, I think, was because of a good strategy, doing one stop less. But this race, Malaysia, did remind me a lot of Hockenheim. I made one mistake in the entire race here, and that was in turn, what is it, 4 or 5 or something, where I locked the rears on the braking, and literally I lost 2 tenths maybe, and that was it. That is the only mistake I can properly think of this race. And the timing of performing a race like this is fantastic. It couldn't have been any better. Of course, going into this race, you know your objectives, you know you have to finish ahead of both Kiss and Paris's. But luckily, or funnily I should say, I said to myself before the race, you know what, if you finish first, you'll be champion anyway, regardless of where Kiss and Paris's finish, because when you finish first, you'll be ahead of them obviously anyway. So, you know, when I thought that, I said to myself as well, it's quite unlikely. Brilliac is a fantastic racer, really competitive and really fast. It's not hard or not easy at all to beat him. Nice few shots here at the end, but yeah, 2016 champion, like Justin said. And you could hear Peter joining in on the team radio there as well. Quick apologies for the for the quality of the team radio there at the end. I'm sure this will put a little bit of a smile on the people at OFR, because they will know how the TeamSpeak conversations go. But usually when Peter comes on TeamSpeak, he has his TV on in the background or something, and you can hear that and whatnot. So Justin's microphone picks up all kind of noises. But anyway, you could hear the response from Peter too. And again, it's a pleasure to drive for Peter, because Peter is a really humble person, a very warm person, very giving person. And when you have successes with someone you really like, you only feel very thankful for that, and very happy, of course, in a way as well. So here we see it, 2 more races to go, 207 points. Yeah, Kiss climbed the spot, by the way, up to 2nd. Paris's is the loser, I guess, after this round, scoring no points, dropping to, what was it, 5th or 6th. And now, you know, it's not over this season at all. We focus on the constructors. Here is how it's looking. Daniel Brewer, unfortunately, starting from 4th, couldn't score any points. And so those 7 points we picked up, those 7 extra points we picked up from winning instead of coming 2nd, for example, could prove quite beneficial at the end again. The gap is there to Twister, but of course with constructors it's very easy to lose points as well, because it's all about, you know, 2 drivers scoring points. So with 2 more races to go, this championship, this constructors championship, is not over at all. In fact, I can already tell you, it's only going to heat up massively. So I recommend not quitting this series, but keep watching it until the end for the final 2 races as well, because we've got some good races coming up next as well. But yeah, taking it a little bit slower. Again, this race was one of the better, if not the best races of the season. Even though it looks easy, it was absolutely not. Yeah, I guess I'm sorry for making it perhaps a little bit boring, but once again, it wasn't boring at all from my point of view. And Brilliac was so similarly matched. it's amazing really. And then one mistake which he had obviously dropped him further down, and from that moment onwards, you know, you basically know it already. You have to keep it clean. You monitor the tires, the temperatures from the engine, but yeah, everything was just settled, and it was meant to be, I guess, today or that day, which is fantastic. Again, I didn't really expect it. Didn't really expect to finish first, but like I said before the race, if I can do it, then you'll be champion anyway, and you don't have to worry about where Kiss or Paris is finishing. What else can we talk about? Not much really. I'm happy to win this championship. We won it with 3 rounds to go, which is obviously quite nice, because now we can fully focus on the constructors. And the constructors is going to how shall I put it? The constructors is going to have a big priority for this season. I really considered, I'll say it again I think in a future video, but I would consider this season a failure if we don't win the constructors. That is really something I mean, and that is not something I thought of right now after the Malaysian Grand Prix. Obviously I was quite happy with the championship, the Drivers' Championship, but I have to be honest as well, it was more of a matter of when it would happen, the Drivers' Championship, rather than if it would happen. I personally expected it to win it at Kota, most likely at Circuit of the Americas, which is the next round, but again, if you can do it at Malaysia already, that's fine. It's even better most likely. So yeah, there was obviously quite a bit of a delight of winning the championship, but again, it was more or less that's at least the way how I felt it. It was more or less about when it would happen rather than if it would happen, because we had quite a nice gap, and yeah, that is obviously quite nice. There's not a lot more to say though. I would like to thank you all for watching. Last 2 races, stay tuned, because it's going to get really nice and good again for the constructors, the battle with Twister. And yeah, what else have I got to add? Well, thank you all. Thanks all for your support, for all your kindness, for all your criticism, which has been put to good use, where I could learn from. Obviously thanks to the OFR team. You know what, I can say it again in this video, but I've already thanked them plenty of times personally, and I think that's enough. So yeah, I haven't got a lot more to add then. Next video, round 15, the penultimate round at Circuit of the Americas. Will be quite interesting for the constructors. That is another chapter though, and the chapter is going to be continued soon. Thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, I would sincerely appreciate a like. That's pretty much it for me though. I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye. Thank you.